So, good evening, everyone. We are back with our Best Interest podcast, where the primary objective is to take up issues of relevance linked to the rights and entitlements of children. And as we all know, children are categories of individual from say -0 to 18 years, and there are different terminologies used, including the adolescent, which again get defined differently by different bodies. So the UN definition happens to be 11 to 19. A lot of schemes of the government defines it as something as 13 to 18. The Child and Adolescent Labor Act defines it as 15 to 18. But what is agreed by almost everyone is the age of the teen, as we say, teenagers definitely fall in that category. And as we all know, it's a very critical age. We all have went through a lot of confusions, lot of hormonal changes, lot of mistakes and decisions which we take, a lot of learning, and so happens to be a very critical age. And it's also a transitional age, so we transition from certain roles, certain way of being looked at, into a new personality. There always a confusion of what we will be treated as children or adult. And so we also tend to kind of um, mimic a lot of adult behaviors just to find spaces within those adult circles and adult clubs. That's also part of our learning. These are also the phase where we get into exploration of doing many things which at times are kind of prohibited, restricted, and we are specifically told not to. But that's the punch, that's the challenge we take at this age, and we get into those areas. Uh, in recent years, or say couple of decades, and more so in the last one decade, the influence of online and internet and the kind of um, abundance in terms of opportunity or visual and things have taken over a lot of other aspects. So um, at times we feel that outdoor has got restricted to the screen time. Many a times we feel, and that's true for most of us. Even for adults like us, we are now all struggling to manage our screen time, and we are all kind of enslaved by this the new the new world of called online safety. So today's podcast, or say a webinar format, where we are engaging with three very established individuals. Uh, and so we have Dr. Astha Dhingra. She's a clinical psychologist, and she also happens to be coming with an experience of dealing with the uh, juvenile, or say children in conflict with law, as part of the Juvenile Justice Board under the Juvenile Justice Act. So welcome, Astha, and uh, we will love to hear from you, not only your experience of JJB, but the fact that you are dealing with issues of adolescent and the psychological aspect of them, their family, their parent, how you deal, how you engage with them, and what are your own learnings vis-a-vis adolescent and the the good, bad, and ugly aspect of it. So welcome again. And then we have Ms. Supriya Srivastav. She is the director principal of Innovera School in Pune. It's a school which caters till class 12th, and she is by education B.Ed and done some masters. And she is known for her innovative work. So one of her work which is praised is her engaging with parents in even running of the lot of school management issues. So her engagement with parents along with the students is something we will look forward to hear, and also the challenges they face as a school management. not only in terms of adhering to the kind of uh, uh, statutory requirement, but also the responsibility they carry of ensuring that every child who joins their school goes out as a very meaningful, contributing citizen of the country. So, welcome, Supriya,
Thank you
for
so
joining,
much.
and we also
Thank you
look
so much.
forward to hear from you about your experiences of engaging with children, especially the adolescent, and the new challenges probably in the last 5 to 7 years, and especially post COVID, where even schools were forced to get into this online system, and so somewhere it has become a necessity. So it's not now kind of a luxury in the education system. And then finally, we have Shri Arvind Singh. He is director Matri Sudha. It's a grassroots organization, works with community, with children, and they are on the issue of internet safety and cyber security. They are also working at the policy level. He is a co-founder of Cyber Chakravyuh, and he has been working with Delhi government towards certain policy formulation, towards development of certain guidelines, and also working with the government schools. So, welcome, Arvind, and I would love to hear from both perspectives the understanding you developed based on the recent study and research you did, uh, and the report which you have already brought out about the different dimensions and the kind of vulnerability which you have brought out in your report, and also the way governments are thinking when it comes to policy formulation, or when they think of working towards the prevention of certain things to happen. Uh,
Thank
so
you.
before I start, I would like to uh, uh, show the reason why um, we are doing this webinar today. So it's based on a very unfortunate and sad event which happened, and we are all aware about it. So uh, very next door in Ghaziabad, uh, there were three sisters who were into this online gaming, and somehow they were not going to school for last few years, and there were a lot of technicality involved in the kind of game, the kind of softwares they were using. But what eventually it led to that they were into this some kind of zone where they were mentally getting troubled, and none of the indicators were caught by the neighbors or family or school, and what eventually happened was they committed suicide. So this is the discussion, or say the background, where we are picking where from, and very unfortunate. One second, um, it can happen at any house. So let me start from there, and we all are going through some kind of um, not this grave. God forbid, nobody goes through this level of trauma, but to some extent, everyone now is struggling with the screen time. So, be it TV, your mobile, your tablets, your laptops, the amount of time we are spending on the screen is enormous. And while adults like us can, or say we have other distractions, workloads, and performance to do, times able to manage a little and divide, or say balance it out at times. But when it comes to younger children, it's a very different ball game. And going to the reels, scrolling reels, something even I am struggling to restrict myself. So is something which is a concern now. So let me start with you, Supriya, and when I point this question, I'm looking from three perspectives. One, you deal with children. In fact, I think children spend more time with you than their parents, at least the quality
Definitely.
time.
Yeah.
Second, you also engage with parents not only as part of your PTA, but also other engagements which you innovated in your school. And
Hmm.
finally, as a school, the objective is surely the holistic development of children who are part of your system, and to see that they evolve and develop as a contributing human being and they go out. So when you engage with this story in background, so what are your first thoughts? Let me start from there. So over to you.
First thought would be it's a sad event, definitely. God forbid it shouldn't be happening with anybody and any family per se in any part of the world. When I see school, I will say that school is one place where it's a happy place. And uh, that 6.5 hours that a child spends in school, they don't need mobiles, or they don't even crave for it, they don't even ask for it. Because probably, as you said, the way schools usually deal with children, or the way they get into the holistic development, or they engage with them in various activities, so that uh, puts them into a frame where it is continuous thinking and engagement of their physical energy, mental energy, and the emotional energy to a large extent. When we deal with children in school, um, there's nothing as in where it is there's no line drawn. Most of the times I have experienced myself where the child feels very comfortable in coming and speaking to the teachers about n number of challenges that they face individually at their homes, on the road, with their classmates or their peers in their societies. However, they do restrict sometimes in you sharing openly about their experiences or hardships which are happening at home with their parents. So there is this restriction from the child's end, because maybe they have assumption, they feel that that in any way would not be making too much of a difference to the parent. Now when we see it, how we partner with parent, a lot of communication needs to be done, which is happening. Like from my end, I ensure that I am talking to the children, the first stakeholders. The second would be the teachers, because they are the ones to whom they communicate directly. And third is bridging the gap, bringing in the parent in between. So that in total. However, definitely there are challenges where uh, many a times we do experience that there is a very less amount of attention which the parents are paying to their children at home. And uh, and there is this system of sending the child to tuitions, or sending the child the moment the child reaches home. They have half an hour to finish with their lunch, or the evening snack, and they are rushed to one tuition, they are rushed to another after that. And so the life is moreover outsourced. And in this outsource, the reasons many a times parents give is that they would like them to learn better. Actually, it is not that. It is that the parent is seeking some time for themselves. um, and even the time that the parents are seeking for themselves, it is mostly to get engaged in social media in as a parent, uh, not to develop or not to do something positive, or to grow, but it is more to have their own we time. So there are a lot that we experience in school, we come across. There are a lot which children come and talk, um, and we become the communicators to the parent from the child's end. So there
So
is a gap, there's a huge gap between the child and the families, is what I'm seeing now.
I'll pick that last point that there are a lot of sharing with probably children do in school now. Now that the every school mostly have a counselor at their end, so I'm sure they must be carrying a lot of stories of children which they are otherwise not comfortable sharing with their own parents, probably. So I'll come back to you, Supriya, and I'll like to listen on two things. One is if you have stories about uh, children who where it's linked to this social media and internet and all. So that's one part. Second, I would also like to hear from you how things have changed post COVID, when there's a little
Okay.
dependence on internet and use of mobile and laptop and all. So have are we seeing a change in not only functioning but also the way even children operate? So I'll come back to you. So Arvind, coming back to you then, coming to you now. Uh, One briefly about the report, very briefly about the report and the key finding vis-a-vis children vulnerability and online safety, and what is the preparedness of the parent as a group.
Right. Thank you. So, just a brief, in fact, thank you for organizing this, on a very short notice. I think it's a very uh, deeply saddened story that what happened in Ghaziabad. I think, we keep wondering about these kind of issues, but reflecting back to what Matthew Sudha does, we are running in 25th year of our establishment, so we are celebrating 25th year. That's one side of a good story that I lead the organization. So we have a vertical called Adolescents Health and Wellbeing, which has two verticals. Life skills is one which is spanned around all the adolescents in the communities as well in the schools. So we work at two levels, in the communities and as well as in various government schools across Delhi. So while implementing the life skill education program, we came across many case studies where the online risk with adolescents has been coming to us through these sessions many a time, and also at the same time, finding them, finding these adolescents into a situation where they don't have any, way ahead, or the, solutions with them to exactly what kind of mechanisms they can take up to come out of such a situation. So that has led us to uh, getting into the online safety uh, arena, and then we started working on online safety almost 5 years back as an extension of our life skill education program. And so that life skills education program also enhance our understanding the needs of the adolescents, precisely when they are growing, and when they are growing, and then having been exposure to various things, especially in a city like Delhi. So the study that we did last year was an outcome of our grassroots work for almost 4 or 5 years in Delhi. And so the study was on breaking the cyber Chakravyuh, and with that name we established a consortium of individuals, experts, and institutions, which is called Cyber Chakravyuh, with a theme that people with adolescents with half knowledge, when they are growing, they don't have much exposure to online safety, don't come across the laws, mechanisms, don't have the have the platforms to share their stories with them. So that's the reason for us to actually going into the details through the research. And this research basically highlighted some of the key findings, and then the first and the foremost finding that I exactly corroborate with what that incident happened in Ghaziabad. There's a clear lack of communication between the parents and the these young, the growing kids in the city. So roughly, as the data speaks, uh, so we talked to the adolescents, we talked to the parents, we talked to the statutory institutions, either the child welfare committees, the police, and the other institutions as well, which includes the school principals, school teachers. So that was a kind of a comprehensive sample size that we took up. So with regard to the communication at the household, we found that less than 30% adolescents talked about online safety, talked about their day-to-day issues with their parents. Second is, with respect to the expansion of digitalization in the urban areas specifically, and now in the rural counterparts as well. Every second household has a Android phone other than the keypad phone. 67% adolescents have their own phones, and which were the Android phones, connected to the internet as well. 33% adolescents have access to phone through their parents, through their sibling, which are there in their houses, and also have access to the phone through their friends in schools and in the communities. With regard to the online safety, in fact, these adolescents were very worried about the increasing grooming on the social media platforms, especially with the young girls, the increasing cases of cyberbullying, the increasing cases of elopement, missing, linked to the social media. So these was some of the common challenges that we came across through our study.
Thank you, Arvind. So I'll come back to you
Please.
in the second round. So, Dr. Astha, coming to you now.
Yes,
So
please.
the technical buzzword which we kept hearing after this incident was that there were some kind of unmet emotional needs,
Yes.
and that is something which pushes children from the human society to something which is artificial, imaginary, something which is um, uh, kind of figure of imagination kind of thing. And then they tend to become so dependent that they stop um, believing or even realizing that the normal human beings can be of any use, and they end up taking such a step, which we just saw few days back. So and also when uh, Supriya was sharing, she was uh, talking about two things. I picked two things. One was that fact that when children are in school, they seem to be active and happy and engaged. And somehow she um, said that the family support, especially parental support, either they are mentally absent, even if they are physically present, they are mentally absent. And second, there's a whole culture of outsourcing. So outsourcing of their own responsibilities to tuition teachers or whatnot.
Yes.
So your take, Astha, if you can little brief about. In fact, I'll request also if you can, uh, based on your own analysis, can describe the whole Ghaziabad incident from your perspective. Yeah.
Sure. So, first of all, I'll just try to keep it very crisp and to the point. Whatever we see, clinically speaking, these are not problems, first of all of them that you see actually are signals. When a child, if you look at a child, you see the child has started games excessively. Arvind sir just gave the data. 67% of the adolescent population have their own phones. 33% access the phones of their siblings or parents. And most of the time, it's not just Instagram. For kids, for adolescents, it's majorly gaming. सो उसकी वजह से दे आर अवॉइडिंग स्कूल्स, एब्सेंटिज्म बहुत ज्यादा हो रहा है. Socially, you see they have isolated themselves to the extent that COVID also is a chota example to quote. We understand that while there was COVID, we were so much into the fact that phones are the only thing that is left with us. But unfortunately, if you see the 67% of population जिनके पास खुद के phones हैं, all of them probably are on some or the other gaming apps. They have downloaded some or the other game. May it be just a normal cricket game. So, what I see as a clinical psychologist here, the psychological question is not what is wrong with the child. प्रॉब्लम, क्वेश्चन थोड़ा उल्टा है. क्वेश्चन ये है कि ऐसा कौन सा दर्द है, व्हाट पेन इज देयर इन द बिहेवियर जिससे वो अपने आप को प्रोटेक्ट करके चल रहा है. हम साइकोलॉजिस्ट थोड़ा डिफरेंट तरीके से हर चीज को परसीव करते हैं. सपोज द बिहेवियर, लाइक जस्ट गिविंग यू सम एग्जाम्पल्स सो दैट ये सिनेरियो थोड़ा क्लियर हो. अगर बिहेवियर है एक्सेसिव गेमिंग, तो एज एन अडल्ट, एज अ नॉर्मल पेरेंट, एज एन अडल्ट, यू वुड सी इट एज हमारा बच्चा बहुत लेजी है, हमारा बच्चा एडिक्टेड है. दिस इज हाउ द पेरेंट्स ब्रिंग द चाइल्ड टू अस in forms of complaints that my child is completely into gaming, पूरा दिन फोन हाथ में रहता है, the child is not listening to us, the child is not eating properly, not listening to us, doing nothing. And what the child then is often experiencing is what we see. One, escape. Two, there is some sort of control, जो बच्चा जिस control, एक sense of control से भाग रहा है. Competence and the failure or not being able to regulate the emotions properly. Suddenly you will see there will be a social withdrawal. बड़ों को ये लगता है, all the adults, all the parents in a family setup always see that as disobedience. मेरी तो बात नहीं सुनता, जिद्दी हो गया है, घमंडी हो गया है, stubborn हो गया है. But actually at the moment, if you see from a child's angle, the child is experiencing a sense of anxiety, a sense of shame, a sense of bully, and somewhere there's a lot of academic overwhelm that the child feels. फिर बच्चा आखिर में जब उसको लगता है ना उसकी कोई नहीं समझ पा रहा इस टाइम, बच्चा आइसोलेट करने की कोशिश करता है अपने आप को. उस समय पेरेंट्स को, हमारे सारे अडल्ट्स को ये लगता है दैट ये थोड़ा एंटी सोशल हो गया है. अब दिस बिहेवियर कम्स अंडर एंटी सोशल. But actually में the child is often experiencing emotional exhaustion. वो अपने हर तरीके से एक्सप्रेस कर चुका है, जितनी कैपेबिलिटी, जितनी कोपिंग उसकी थी, the child has expressed. Now the child is emotionally exhausted. And then there is a fear of judgment from the society, from the parents, from the elder siblings, and from all the relatives. And hence the child is left lonely. So when you talk about gaming especially gives children a sense of instant reward. एक sense of predictability आती है. एक केस था मेरे पास, a 14-year-old who came to me, of course brought by the parents, but बहुत सारी डिस्कशन करने के बाद बच्चे के मुंह से एक लाइन निकली which solved the entire case. उसने बोला कि मैं मम्मा पापा के पास जाता हूँ, nobody listens to me, and I have been always compared to my elder sibling. Gaming is one thing जहां मेरा कंपटीशन मैं डिसाइड करता हूं कि मुझे किसके साथ क्रिकेट खेलना है, एंड देन देयर इज दैट मोटिवेशन कि मुझे क्या डिप्लीट करना है, किसको डिस्ट्रॉय करना है, किसको ओवर पावर करना है, एंड थिंग्स लाइक दैट. सो गेमिंग फॉर अ चाइल्ड is a lot of predictability, is a lot of identity formation. So real life में शायद उनको वो सारी चीजें नहीं मिल रही हैं, इसलिए they shift to all these resorts.
Thank you so much. And I'm also requesting everyone कि हम लोग mix of Hindi and English भी रख सकते हैं, because I know a lot of our viewers will be जो हिंदी में भी comfortable होंगे, and it's getting telecasted across. So मुझे लग रहा है आपने 2-3 चीज़ों पर बड़ा मेरी भी एक सोच बदलने का अच्छा ये है कि ये जो जजमेंटल होने का जो फियर है
जी.
कि मुझे लोग जज करेंगे, मुझे ब्रांड करेंगे, मुझे एक टाइप कास्ट करेंगे कि ये तो इस टाइप का ही है, ऐसा ही है, नहीं है टाइप का. और द अदर थिंग जो आपने बोला बहुत बढ़िया कि वो एग्जॉस्ट हो चुके हैं. वॉट एवर लिमिटेड लैंग्वेज एंड जार्गन्स दे हैव, whatever limited vocabulary they have, उससे उन्होंने बताने की कोशिश की, but now they are kind of tired कि अब नहीं बता सकते टाइप से. So very good important points you have made. Coming back to Supriya, two critical things I would like to know. One, I've already asked you that question कि post COVID कैसे scenario change हुआ है, And if you can share um, even a couple of some case studies, obviously without taking name, बिना नाम के अगर कुछ कुछ बच्चे जो आपके साथ या काउंसलर के साथ शेयरिंग किए हों, which is kind of indication to हमारा समाज किस तरफ जा रहा है, किस दिशा में जा रहा है, प्लीज.
Okay, I'll start with the first thing first. The question is post COVID, how things changed. Post COVID, until now, the child has never asked for a device. It was given to the child by the parent because education to reach out to, for the education to reach out to the child, probably that became a zaria. Now, one was mandated zaria, wherein the online schoolings were running, which was limited to probably the parents' devices in most cases. But then it went a step further, jahan pe, even after these schools became physical, parents did maintain that the need of the device at home for the child. It became one step further when the schools encashed on this, and many schools are encouraging tablets even as a computer classroom session tool, wherein it can definitely be worked on a common screen where everybody is watching it together when the teacher is doing it, and you have regular computer lab formats. It definitely gives those schools little edge on hum technology mein bahut fast hai. They're not preparing children for tomorrow, definitely, is my take. I can be completely, this can be debated. The reason is because in the years to come, the need of technology will be anyway generated through AI and all the latest which is coming in the market. But the need of mental health requirement which these children are going to need in future, uski scarcity hote ja rahi hai. There's no hugs at home. Fathers and daughters are rarely, the father is rarely hugging their daughters at home because उन्होंने इतना पढ़ लिया है कि बच्ची बड़ी हो गई है, दूर रखो. There's hardly a case wherein a बड़ा बच्चा, a sibling, is taking care of the younger sibling. They are seeing division in families. So all these things are leading to scenarios जहाँ पे the child is not seeing a family setup at all. Mummy is busy on one phone, Papa is busy on another phone, the child is crying, so the mother or somebody in the family gives a device to the child and says, okay, tum shant baitho. Okay, in many cases, and I have witnessed, in many cases the mother says, मुझे 2 घंटा सोना है, तुम जब तक YouTube देखो. Okay, या मैं खाना बना रही हूँ, बात मत करो, don't trouble me. तो परेशान करने के बजाय तुम कुछ देर तक अगर रील्स देखो. Okay, now this is exactly from where the child gets introduced to social media. He did not go, she did not go. The parent has pushed again the child to go to social media. In n number of cases, the parent has started making the reel first and then introduced reel making to the children. So the child has such examples at home जहाँ पे मम्मी भी रील बना रही है, hey guys, and the child is also making reels, hey guys. Okay, now these reels, where would that go? From one reel to a selfie which is taken, and on what platform those selfies are being posted, nobody is monitoring. Nobody is monitoring. I have cases, and I'll without taking names, where children would post on a certain social media platform and they would know, okay, it has got auto deleted. So I just came across this conversation among some of my teachers that we heard that certain children are on Snapchat. So as a principal, I have almost a lot of phone numbers of my parents. So out of curiosity, I downloaded Snapchat on my phone to see kya hai. When I downloaded, I saw all those numbers, around 40% of those numbers were already on Snapchat with the names of some other profile name, क्योंकि Snapchat पे आप आपका प्रोफाइल नेम अलग रख सकते हो बट फोन नंबर चेंज नहीं कर सकते. So it led me to realize that if I have 1,000 children in school, 40%, which is around 400 बच्चे are already on Snapchat. What they post on Snapchat, and really nobody is watching. There are cases where I came to know through a counselor, wherein a girl of around 12, 13, she was into a conversation with an unknown person who befriended her. उसके साथ उसने बातें करते करते brought into the fact that, okay, how do you look? And the girl, of course, as ma'am rightly said, that they do carry a low self-esteem about themselves. So the girl started talking about how she looks and how she's very lean and thin. And the person in front, of course, a predator, he said, oh, is it? I have a friend who's a doctor and he can help you with building your understanding your body size, and he can help you with becoming a little more fitter or whatever. Send me a picture. And we can all imagine what the girl must have sent. Here, when I was speaking to my children at school for class 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and when I was talking to them about, so when you put pictures on Snapchat, and aapko to lagta hai that it gets deleted after 24 hours. But do you know it's still there? Because it is definitely still there. It is there in the cloud. I could see a couple of faces which were worried and scared. But there were a couple of them who came down and spoke that now what do we do? And of course, that followed with a conversation with the parents of those classes, because I had to tell them that as a total, if you are not monitoring your children at home or as in what they are doing online, somebody else is definitely making the best use of it. So I think post-COVID, things have got spoiled. One, social media, something which has been brought in the houses by the families. It is not the child who has brought in social media. And how do we avoid is, Arvind sir said, I think the tools are not a bad thing. Mobile devices, I don't see them as a bad thing. The only problem or the only thing that a parent can do better is ask your child to lock your phone, and you should know the lock code so that you can, very constantly and on a very regular basis, check what the child is doing it. Because can you ask the child to leave your phones and survive in a society where almost every child is carrying one? The answer is a straight no. So how do we do it? Kharido, matlab agar hai, give them a device, tell them lock karo, because they are also going out. Anybody can misuse it, but you should know the lock code. As simple as that.
Thank you, Supriya. And coming, so what you said is, I think how constant monitoring can be one of the ways of ensuring. Arvind, coming to you, I also remember when we were developing a set of manuals for one of the organizations. The target was 3. So the manual was directed towards one children, the adolescent group. The other was the family, and the third was the law enforcement agency, basically the police. And when we're doing the kind of research, pre-research for developing the manual, our engagement with parents brought to light that many of the parents are clueless as to how to use the device, especially mothers in a segment which we were catering to. Many of those mothers didn't had smartphones. The smartphones only were with either uh, fathers or kids had, and the mothers were not aware about how to use that smartphone, what are the devices and all. So Arvind, very quickly, a very quick reply I expect from you. One is that in your research, whatever you have found, and now that you are engaging with the government towards developing that policy guideline and all, how is that matching? Is it the policy guideline going to take care of that aspect? What's your take?
राइट सो मैं हिंदी में बात करता हूँ इनफैक्ट ये एक इनफैक्ट डिबेट भी है पेरेंटल कंट्रोल पेरेंटल कंसेंट का इनफैक्ट सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म्स को एक्सेस करने का, बहुत सारे गेमिंग प्लेटफॉर्म्स को एक्सेस करने का, कई सारे कानून हैं जो जिन पे मैं बात भी करूंगा थोड़ा समय लेकर। और ये बात हमारे रिसर्च में भी निकल के आई थी कि सोशल मीडिया जब से डिजिटल प्राइवेसी प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट डीपीडीपी एक्ट 2023 आया, जहां पर अब जो है एज वेरीफाई करने के लिए पेरेंट्स का कंसेंट जो है वो सभी इंटरमीडिएट्स जो है, इंटरमीडिएट्स बेसिकली जो सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं, जो गेमिंग प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं, उनको एक्चुअली वेरीफाई करना होगा। तो वेरिफिकेशन ऑफ एज जो है वो पेरेंट के कंसेंट से ही होगा, और पेरेंट के कंसेंट से पेरेंट का जब कंसेंट आना है तो वो एक सोशल एक डिबेट है। दूसरा जो है पेरेंटल कंट्रोल, बहुत सारे प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं, चाहे वो यूट्यूब है, चाहे वो अदर लर्निंग प्लेटफॉर्म्स है, वहां पर पेरेंटल कंट्रोल एक की फीचर होता है। जब हमने ये सवाल जो अपनी रिसर्च में डाला, हमने पूछा यूजुअली कि भाई पेरेंटल कंट्रोल के बारे में जानकारी है, कोई बहुत हाइप है पेरेंटल कंट्रोल के बारे में, पेरेंटल कंट्रोल के बारे में मुझे भी शायद रिसर्च के बाद ही समझ में आया पेरेंटल कंट्रोल एग्जैक्टली कैसे होता है, क्योंकि वो एक मतलब एक लर्निंग के बाद ही आएगा। तो हमारी जो रिसर्च हमने करी तो 70 to 75% जो पेरेंट्स हैं उनको पेरेंटल कंट्रोल के बारे में एज अ पेरेंटल कंट्रोल शब्द उन्होंने कभी सुना नहीं है इनफैक्ट। और जब ग्रास रूट पर हम उन पेरेंट्स की बात कर रहे हैं जहां पर मोबाइल फोन का एक्सेस सभी घर के अंदर ऑलमोस्ट है, जो मैंने पिछली बार में भी रिफ्लेक्ट किया था, तो आई थिंक उस बात को हमने बिल्कुल टेकअप किया। और अब दूसरी बात जो हम जब बात कर रहे हैं कि जब एक गैप है तो कैसे उसको आप उस गैप को कैसे ब्रिज करोगे, वो एक दूसरा सवाल था हमारे सामने। तो हमने जब गाइडलाइंस पर हमने काम करना शुरू किया, तो गाइडलाइंस को यूजुअली जो गाइडलाइंस है, बेसिकली आज का जो पॉडकास्ट है वो बेस्ट इंटरेस्ट ऑफ चाइल्ड है, और जब बेस्ट इंटरेस्ट ऑफ चिल्ड्रन की बात आती है तो हम फैमिलीज को पहले रखते हैं। फैमिलीज है, कम्युनिटीज है, वो सोशल मीडिया इंटरमीडिएट्स हैं, वो लॉ इन्फोर्समेंट एजेंसीज हैं, और आखिर में वो स्टेट है, वो सरकार है जिसका एक लीगल ऑब्लिगेशंस हैं। तो ये पूरा का पूरा इकोसिस्टम जो है वो बेस्ट इंटरेस्ट की तरफ काम करता है ऑफ द चिल्ड्रन। ना वापस आते हैं इस बात से कि जो गैप रहा पेरेंटल कंट्रोल पेरेंटल कंसेंट दोनों बातों पर, वो बात हमने गाइडलाइंस में इंश्योर करने की कोशिश इस तरीके से करी कि पेरेंट्स की एंगेजमेंट, मेरे साथ में स्कूल के प्रिंसिपल मैम हैं, एक क्लिनिकल साइकोलॉजिस्ट हैं, बिल्कुल डे टू डे बेसिस पर बच्चों के साथ एक अलग एटमॉस्फेयर में एक एंगेजमेंट होता है। और सिमिलर एंगेजमेंट हमारा एंगेजमेंट बियॉन्ड क्लासरूम्स होता है, मैम का विद इन क्लासरूम्स होता है, उनका बियॉन्ड क्लासरूम्स बियॉन्ड कम्युनिटीज होता है, अलग एक सिस्टम में डील करते हैं। तो जब हमने जब बहुत सारे रिसर्च हमने जब गाइडलाइंस को बनाने से पहले हमने जब किए, तो चाइल्ड सेंट्रिक नहीं है। पहला सवाल ये था कि चाइल्ड सेंट्रिक, बहुत सारे जो गाइडलाइंस बनाए गए हैं, बहुत सारे मैनुअल्स बनाए गए हैं, बच्चों के इंटरेस्ट के हिसाब से उसको थोड़ा सा देखना था। ये हमारी एक खुद की लर्निंग रही, तो हमने उसको उस हिसाब से बनाया। दूसरा, बहुत सारा जो कंटेंट है वो साइबर जो फाइनेंशियल फ्रॉड्स पर एक्चुअली फोकस करता है। अगर आप लिटरेचर भी देखो पूरे देश भर में जो भी पिछले 7-8 सालों में जो डेवलप हुए हैं, खासकर इस सेगमेंट में, वो एडल्ट स्पेसिफिक फाइनेंशियल फ्रॉड्स को डील करने की बात करता है। इनफैक्ट मेजर ओरिएंटेशन भी लोगों का उसी तरफ है। तो पेरेंट्स की एंगेजमेंट कैसे घर के स्तर पर हो। अब घर के स्तर पर एंगेजमेंट होना एक टेक्निकल मुश्किल काम था। पीयर टू पीयर या तो लर्निंग मॉड्यूल तैयार करो और सबको सिखाओ, इसकी अपने एक लिमिटेशंस है। इसलिए हमने जो है एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट के साथ में एंगेज किया, उनको हमने इस बात पे थोड़ा सा अवेयर किया कि हम इस पे आगे बढ़ते हैं। और क्योंकि बात अभी पेरेंट टीचर मीटिंग की, आप पीटीएस की आपने बात भी करी, और एंगेजमेंट ऑफ विद द पेरेंट्स खासकर, और स्कूल्स एक ऐसा सिस्टम है जहां पर केवल बच्चे नहीं है, बच्चों के साथ साथ पेरेंट्स का एंगेजमेंट भी बहुत मास स्केल पर लेता है। इसलिए उस लेवल पर हमें लगा कि वहां पर उसको हम लोग कवर अप करते हैं।
So thank you, Arvind. I'm stopping you because
Please.
There's so much to speak, and I had limited time with everyone. So coming to you, Dr. Astha, one of the question which is being asked by one of the viewer, Manoj Kumar, he is asking that the what you had shared last time in yours is that how it starts. So he would be very keen to know how that turns into an addiction, one, and what are the red flags for parents or schools to figure out, matlab for any guardian to understand. Yeah.
ओके, सो टॉकिंग अबाउट रेड फ्लैग्स, पहले रेड फ्लैग्स हम पेरेंट्स की बात करते हैं. एक, जब हम रेड फ्लैग्स की बात कर रहे हैं, दीज आर पैटर्न्स, नॉट अ वन डे बिहेवियर चेंज. सो देर आर इमोशनल रेड फ्लैग्स, देर आर बिहेवियरल रेड फ्लैग्स. इमोशनल रेड फ्लैग्स की बात करें, बच्चा अचानक से चिड़चिड़ा होने लग जाएगा. द चाइल्ड विल बिकम नम एंड इमोशनली फ्लैट. जैसे हम कहते हैं कि उसे डांट लो, उसे टॉन्ट मार लो, उसे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा अक्सर. एंड यू विल सी योर चाइल्ड स्टार्ट्स टू ओवर रिएक्ट ऐसी छोटी छोटी बातों पे. आप बस इतना बोलोगे ना, बेटा थोड़ा सा रख जा, मैं ही क्यों, मुझे ही क्यों बोलते रहते. सो छोटी छोटी बातों पे एग्जैजरेशन, ओवर रिएक्शन हो जाएगी. एंड दीज चिल्ड्रन हु आर टू मच इनटू गेमिंग, and when I'm saying this, I'm using very carefully the word gaming addiction and not a general social media addiction, though they are overlapping, but gaming addiction is way more harmful than any social media addiction. बच्चा, अक्सर आपको ये बात सुनने को मिलेगी बच्चे के मुंह से कि मुझे कोई समझता नहीं है, मुझे प्लीज अकेले रहने दो, अकेला छोड़ दो, मुझे उस फंक्शन में नहीं जाना, मुझे अब कुछ किसी भी चीज में ना दिलचस्पी नहीं रही है. सो क्लिनिकली ऑल दीज सिग्नल्स आर इमोशनल डिसरेगुलेशन. ये एटीट्यूड प्रॉब्लम्स नहीं है. जनरली पेरेंट्स परसीव देम एज एटीट्यूड प्रॉब्लम. These are not attitude problems. This is your child is not able to regulate the emotion without that game का stimulation. Behavior में आप देखोगे एक बहुत सिग्निफिकेंट चेंज आएगा कि जो प्राइमरीली गेमिंग है वो उसका संसार बन जाएगा. सो गेमिंग बिकम्स द प्राइमरी और द ओनली एक्टिविटी द चाइल्ड वांट्स टू परस्यू, जिसकी वजह से बच्चा स्क्रीन टाइम के लिए झूठ बोलना शुरू कर देगा. या आप जैसे अक्सर क्या होता है, पेरेंट्स सबसे पहली चीज ये करते हैं, द मोमेंट दे रियलाइज दैट कुछ तो हो गया है, मतलब बहुत ज्यादा इनटू गेमिंग है, पूरा दिन स्क्रीन में लगा रहता है, पेरेंट्स फोन ले लेते हैं. एंड अब वो बोलेंगे अब 1 महीने तक हम फोन नहीं देंगे एज अ पनिशमेंट. दिस इज अ वेरी रॉन्ग स्टेप because the child will not be able to survive that extreme distress when the device is taken away immediately. It will lead to panic attacks. It will lead to a lot of rage. It will lead to distrust towards the parents. It will lead to shutdown एकदम से अचानक वाला. सो बेसिकली आप देखोगे हाइजीन में बहुत ज्यादा दिक्कत आ जाती है. नहाने का मन नहीं करेगा, नहाएगा ही नहीं. नो ब्रशिंग, नो फ्रेशनिंग अप, nails बड़े हुए होंगे. So a lot of distress signs and symptoms can also be seen. नींद का कोई पैटर्न नहीं होगा because पेरेंट्स रात को सो रहे हैं. अब उसको बेचारे को तो गेम खेलनी है, तो उसको गेम वो खेलेगा ही रात को. तो रात की नींद डिस्टर्ब हुई तो दिन में हमें लगेगा ये बच्चा इतना सुस्ता क्यों रहा है, इतना सुस्ती क्यों मार रहा है. बट एक्चुअली इट इज द स्लीप हाइजीन जो पूरी डिस्टर्ब हो चुकी है. मील्स पूरी डिस्टर्ब हो चुकी है क्योंकि दिन में थकान की वजह से खाने का मन नहीं करेगा. सो वन, दिस इज फॉर द पेरेंट्स. For school, for the school authorities, the principal, the teachers, the counselors, if you see कि suddenly बच्चा उसका attention बहुत ज्यादा drop हो गया है, वो बड़ा ऐसे फिकल सा हो रहा है और concentrate नहीं कर पा रहा. Again, there is a difference between child not able to pay attention and child not being intelligent. So the child is intelligent, has a good IQ, but there is a sudden drop in the attention. घर से कोशिश यही रहती है अक्सर कि स्कूल नहीं जाना, आज सिर में दर्द हो रहा है, आज पेट में दर्द हो रहा है. So there will be excuses like this. So there will be increase in the absenteeism. And finally, you will see in the extreme cases, the child develops an I don't care kind of an attitude. Grades नहीं आ रहे, I don't care, मेरे parents देख लेंगे, उनको तो वैसे भी चिंता नहीं है. All these kind of things academically tend to rise. Coming to the second part, which is a very important thing raised, ये होता क्यों है और ये इतना बढ़ कैसे जाता है, right? gaming is not just a habit. ये neurologically it is developing and it affects your brain. So everybody might have heard there is a chemical which is called dopamine. डोपामीन का ओवरलोड होता है ब्रेन की कुछ नसों में, जिसकी वजह से जो ये गेम्स होती है ना, ये हमें क्या करती है, एक बहुत इंस्टेंट रिवॉर्ड देती है कि अभी अभी जीत गए, अभी 20 कॉइन्स मिल गए, इफ यू डू दिस यू विल गेट 20 कॉइन्स, इफ यू डू दिस यू विल गेट सम टोकन. तो पॉइंट्स मिलते हैं, लेवल्स बढ़ते हैं, और वो जीत से एक इंस्टेंट रिवॉर्ड वाली फीलिंग आती है, और जितना ज्यादा ये बढ़ता रहता है उतना हमारा डोपामीन स्पाइक होता रहता है. तो नॉर्मल एक्टिविटीज से हटकर हमें ओवर द टाइम रियल लाइफ एक्टिविटीज बहुत ही बोरिंग लगने लग जाती हैं, क्योंकि वो डोपामीन हिट नहीं मिल रहा. एज सेम एज द डे यू स्टार्टेड ड्रिंकिंग, जो फर्स्ट पेग आपको हाई देता था, आप देखो अगर उसको कंटिन्यू करो, over the time you would need 2 or 3 pegs to get that same high. Exactly same is the neurological capacity of the child's brain. तो मोटिवेशन जितना भी होता है वो ड्रॉप हो जाता है उसका, क्योंकि उसको हाई ही सिर्फ गेम से मिल रही है. तो नाउ द चाइल्ड नीड्स मोर गेमिंग फॉर द सेम प्लेजर. वो हाई लेने के लिए अब उसको और गेम खेलने की जरूरत पड़ रही है. एंड दिस इज सिमिलर टू एनी एडिक्शन पाथवे, क्योंकि ब्रेन उस तरीके से डेवलप हो रहा है. जो हमारा यहाँ पे एक प्री फ्रंटल कॉर्टेक्स होता है विच इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर सारी डिसीजन मेकिंग, सेल्फ कंट्रोल, वो कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो जाता है. उसमें जो इम्पल्स कंट्रोल जनरेट होता है एक नॉर्मल ब्रेन में, उसके अंदर केमिकल सिक्रीशन ज्यादा होती हैं. जनरली ब्रेन कहते हैं कि डेवलप होता है बाय द टाइम यू आर इन अर्ली 20s, एंड वी आर टॉकिंग ऑफ एडोलेसेंस. तो अभी ये वाला पोर्शन डेवलप नहीं हुआ होता, उसमें इम्पल्स कंट्रोल रिड्यूस हो जाता है. तो अ लॉट ऑफ इमोशन रिलेटेड प्रॉब्लम्स आल्सो कम, जिसकी वजह से बच्चा खुद कंट्रोल नहीं कर पाता है.
So Astha, that two things from your this trigger point at the end,
Yes.
and that will also that also makes me um, invite you for another session, which is nothing to do with social media, but on the age of consent, where people are asking that allow girls after 16 years to take decision about their partnership, relationship, sexual intercourse, and all those things. Now, the fact that you said that the age of a child till 20 years is still developing. So coming back to the topic of today's, there's another question coming, and that was also part of the discussion which I wanted to take forward. Now it's for everyone, it's an open floor. Now a lot of countries are now changing the age for entering the cyber world. Australia has already changed. Denmark, even today there's a news about Spain thinking about it. And they want to raise the age from 13 to 16 years. Quick one-liner take of each of you. What's your take? This is a buzzer round for everyone.
Shall I? कुछ नहीं होगा, बिकॉज पेरेंट्स के मोबाइल्स बच्चे यूज करेंगे. So parents को सुधारने की जरूरत है पहले. Then we come down to children.
Okay, Arvind.
I think there's a need to relook back into the revision of age from 13 to 16. There are research studies which supports such revision. You have shared about the examples of various countries. The various research went back into the those decision making. I think they should reconsider revising the age.
Astha, you are on mute.
I think more than age, I think 16 also is not the right age for a child to be able to access appropriately of what is बच्चे के हित में क्या है. ब्रेन डेवलपमेंट इतनी स्ट्रांग नहीं होती. पेरेंट्स अगर फोन दे भी रहे हैं तो मेरा मानना ये है कि कंट्रोल्ड एनवायरनमेंट में दे, फुल मॉनिटरिंग के साथ दे, एंड एक टाइम स्टिपुलेटेड टाइम पीरियड में दे. तो आप अगर 16 के बाद भी या 16 से भी देना चाहो तब भी ओके है.
बट दोनों में 13 and 16, which is your choice?
I think 16 plus.
60. Wonderful. So next
मैं
question.
जस्ट मैं इनफैक्ट हाईलाइट ही करता हूँ, हमने भी जो रिसर्च की इनफैक्ट किया था उसमें जो से हमने जब बात की, लड़कों से हमने जब बात की थी, तो 67% themselves talked about that the age should be above 15. So I think in that sense that actually triggered us to rethink our previous version where we didn't want to, but then we were being pulled by these adolescents to relook and they were themselves were the users in fact.
Great. So I want to close in an hour's time. So we have 4 minutes more. So two quick question, one-liner replies. Uh, do you think we should now have special program for parents training of dealing with adolescent?
Of
Yes,
course,
no, one
yes.
line.
Yes, of
Yes,
course.
a mandate course should be there because पेरेंट्स की ही जिम्मेदारी है बच्चा बच्चा सब कुछ सिर्फ पेरेंट्स की निग्लेक्ट पेरेंट्स की ओवर प्रोटेक्शन में ही सीख रहा है.
So everyone believes that there should be a very customized courses for parents.
True. Like, I mean, just to have it on a lighter note, the way there are counselings before divorce is finalized, there should be counseling and parenting examinations before you go ahead to, give birth to a child.
Okay.
Until you qualify, you can't.
Okay. Arvind, quick.
Yeah, I think that there should be a course, in fact, how to deal with those situations beyond mental health, in fact. So it's more. So I see in from the life skills perspective. We run the life skill sessions for adolescents as well as for the parents. So
Wonderful.
yeah.
Wonderful. Now, quick, among all three of you, I can see only Supriya who can force such courses to parents. Because as a parent, I know whatever school says, we have to abide. So, Supriya, will you be wanting to partner with Cyber Chakravyuh if we develop a small course, making it mandatory for parents to undergo?
Definitely. Definitely. I keep doing a lot of sessions for my parents at school. I understand their pain. I understand my pain. I'm a parent of an adult child. So, definitely, yes.
Wonderful. Third, quick question. We have 3 minutes. So, what is the alternative if we want to decrease the screen time? If we want to ensure more overseeing by parents, as I think Supriya was sharing that mobile per se, internet per se is not bad. The uncontrolled use and unregulated use is where the problem starts, and crossing a line in terms of screen time becomes a problem. So what is the alternative here? Quick, two suggestions, 20 seconds each, please. Two suggestions each. Anyone?
ओके आई गो फास्ट. एक, फोन दो पर इतना जरूर ध्यान रखो हमेशा बच्चे की स्लीप बच्चे की रूटीन बिल्कुल भी डिस्टर्ब नहीं होनी चाहिए. एक टाइम सेट करो कि पूरे दिन में 60 मिनट्स के लिए बच्चे को फोन मिलेगा. बच्चे के हाथ में है, वो 5-5 मिनट करके देख रहा है, 1 घंटे में लगातार देख रहा है. और उससे इंटेरोगेट मत करो, उसको इमोशनल कॉन्वर्सेशंस में इंडल्ज करो दैट मैं तेरी गेम के लिए परेशान नहीं हूं, मैं तेरे लिए परेशान हूं. आई एम वरीड अबाउट यू, नॉट अबाउट द गेम. बिकॉज इन द पास्ट वी हैव सीन दिस इज नॉट जस्ट ये तो कोरियन वाली जो गेम अभी जिसकी वजह से ये सारा एपिसोड हुआ. वी हैड ब्लू व्हेल चैलेंज जिसके ऑल्टरनेट में हमारी पिंक व्हेल चैलेंज आया था. मतलब 2016 से भी ये बहुत सारे सुसाइड केसेस इन गेम्स को लेके हुए. मोमो चैलेंज आया, हमारा पबजी था. देयर वर अ लॉट ऑफ गेम्स जिनकी वजह से ये सब हुआ. रिप्लेस करो, रिमूव मत करो, हेल्दी हाइजीन हैबिट्स बनाओ.
Thank you, Supriya.
Two things. One, the schools really need to work very closely with their parents. We can't leave the common point because of which they are and we are here. So the common point is always children, and we need to really work very closely. That's one. And number two, I will say, a lot of moral setting and value setting at home is needed. A lot, and that can only happen even if the parent is not physically present. They need to be emotionally available, physically available. You can be sitting in some other part of the country but still can communicate to your child 5 times a day. So that will really help.
Thank you, Arvind. Last couple of minutes.
राइट. सो पहला जो इनफैक्ट क्लियर कम्युनिकेशन होना चाहिए. कम्युनिकेशन चैनल्स एडोलेसेंट्स पेरेंट्स के बीच में जो गैप बढ़ता चला जा रहा है, फर्स्ट वन ये. एंड इंटरसेक्शनैलिटी लेंस से हमारे को बहुत देखने की जरूरत है कि यूजुअली वी स्टिग्मेटाइज mental health, mental health traumas. So I think now we are coming around those discussions. So mental health from the social and psychological perspective should be integrated into the schools. In fact, many of the life skills programs that different organizations run. So I think these must be the key take forward from my side.
So thank you so much. I think we can keep discussing the issues which we are all grappling with. We are all parents, so we understand the challenges of today's time. And also, it's like a necessary evil. You cannot do without it. We also want our kids to be competitive, so very skilled vis-a-vis these modern tools and gadgets. And so, we like it or not, these are indispensable with regard to today's reality. So, on that good note, and prayers for the three departed souls, and with a hope and prayer that nothing of this sort happens to any other child. And we'll continue with this conversation in future, and I'll keep coming back. This time it was more generic, but I'll request all three of you that be with us, and we'll keep inviting based on your convenience. But we'll now more on topic wise, we'll take it up as part of the Cyber Chakra Review, which the Alliance Independent Thought and Matsudha has started. And also we'll like to take this with you all, and we'll bring few other panelists who can give little insight as to what different stakeholders can do in this critical issue, protecting and safeguarding the young minds, especially the children and adolescents. So thank you so much, and we'll meet other time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
thank you.